At least it's working.
Evening, everybody. I'd like to call this Plan Commission meeting order Thursday, February 23rd, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Van Bennett,
Here.
Grimm,
Here.
Nellis,
Here.
Janice,
Here.
Dave Lightner, Summers,
Here.
Yates.
Here. Statement of public notice.
That's the other listing.
Discussion and possible approval. Discussion and possible action on approval of a sign permit for Lannon Estates. Oh, I'm sorry, discussion and possible approval of Plan Commission meeting minutes from 1/26/23.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from 1/26/2023.
We have a motion and second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Citizen comments, please direct all your comments to the board. No disruptive behavior. Please. Do you have any citizen comments? Going once, going twice. Discussion and possible action on approval of a sign permit for Lannon Estates, 20179 West Good Hope Road, Lannon, Wisconsin, 53046.
So in short, this is the sign proposal from the new owners of Lannon Estates. Each sign is just under 32 square feet in area. Which complies with a couple different ways that you could look at the sign ordinance requirements. Section 7851 sub 7 specifically applies to commercial and industrial properties and those sign requirements. Sub 8 is for subdivision development identification signs and doesn't comment on the number, but limits the sign area to 32 square feet. So there's nothing that specifically covers R4, which is the manufactured housing residential districts. Nonetheless, one of the two signs that they want to install is just replacing the one on Lannon Road. The other one, they want to put a monument sign out by Diamond Drive and Good Hope Road. So I think that's the plan. Commission discusses this. My only recommendation is that you kind of consider if you're okay with the area, both signs are double faced and illuminated. They would have to get approval from Waukesha County for a right-of-way permit, at least for the one over on Good Hope. And so that should be a condition of any action taken by the commission.
Do we have a distance from the center line for that one on Good Hope? Because it looks like it would be back far enough that it would be out of the right of way. That's a 60-foot right of way on Good Hope, right?
Are they replacing it or are they putting it in a new spot?
I can speak to that actually.
Yeah, if they're outside the right of way, that's.
Yeah, so there currently is a monument sign. I'm Dan, I'm the vice president for Wisconsin for RHP, who's the owner. There currently is one, it should tuck away into the trees. So what we want to do is it's actually parallel with the street. So we're looking to make it perpendicular so you can see it from both directions and then bring it out of the trees. And then it's a monument sign, so it looks a little, got some faux stone and that kind of thing.
Do you know what that setback from the curve is?
I don't, I place it, I just say, this is where I want it, and then you guys tell us how far it needs to be. So if it needs to be 60 feet, then we'll make sure it's 60 feet.
Well, it's gonna be 60 feet to the property line, and then you gotta be 5 feet off of that, I think, so.
So there actually, for signs, there's no offset from the right of way line, as long as it doesn't interfere with like a vision triangle or whatever.
Okay.
And I only know that because for reference, I pulled the comments for the cut and go sign.
Yeah.
They recently wanted to do something in the same area. So yeah, it's zero line offset. It's just that typically there are no signs allowed in the right of way, but this isn't village land right of way, it's county right of way, so.
Well, what's that? 60 foot, that's from center line, isn't it?
No, if it's a 60-foot right of way, it's 30 foot from the center line. So 2 lanes usually about 15 to 17 feet per lane. And then you've got beyond that until you get to the additional 30. So it's 30 feet either side of the center line.
Right, so you're probably only looking at about 15 feet off that curve then.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying,
So
based on the location, you know, at least where it looks on here.
I think his existing one is back about 40-50 feet off the curve right now.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably gonna be okay, but final placement in between.
Yeah. If you tell us what the minimum is or the maximum, whatever it needs to be, we'll make sure it's that way. So,
The trick is you would technically have to get that off of like your own plat of survey
yeah,
to figure out like, okay, where exactly is the lot line?
which we have, yeah.
And if you're beyond that, you're more or less,
So just beyond our lot line, is that,
you're on your own property.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
and then, the existing sign doesn't have power already, does it?
It does not, no, so we're gonna be running power to it, they're internally illuminated. So it's not like there's gonna be spotlights or anything on it,
Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you said faux stone, so tell me a little bit more about that, because I was looking at the drawings here and I,
It looks like real stone.
well, I mean, it's meant to look like, I know the mock-ups are, it's hard to
Yeah,
depict.
so it's actually a pieced together. Like a vinyl product or like a plastic product that is like maybe yay big in sections that go around the base of the sign. And then we would put like a landscape block that's real stone around it. With flowers. Usually what we do.
So am I to understand then is that it's gonna have like an aluminum skirt that's gonna have this modular,
Stone.
like facing the plastic veneer, basically?
So it's actually 4x4 posts. If you look at the other one, that's gonna go on the other entrance, it's just like that, except for internal, so it's gonna be inside. And then I guess you call it skirt, so it's not gonna be aluminum, so it would just be like a snap together faux stone. Kind of like, it looks nice, it's kind of like what you guys got in front of your desk, it's just like pieces, you know.
So what holds it together structurally?
The inside is banded and locked,
Banded with what?
like snaps, I guess, I don't know, I don't design it, it's what it is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, I know you're gonna have supports, you're gonna have
Right,
probably steel posts in there to hold the
Correct.
cabinet.
Yep.
Right? Those are gonna be buried into footings.
correct,
You're gonna have to have some structure around that thing to have, because it's 12 inches deep, 12 inches wide,
the base, yeah,
the other one, yeah. The 12 inches wide, and then this cap that's on it, what is that?
that's also, but that's a solid piece, it's also faux stone. But it is a solid piece. Are you what's your concern? About it blowing away or?
Durability and whether or not it's gonna look like crap in 6 months.
So I can tell you, we use it everywhere. We have 376 communities nationwide. We use it everywhere. We just built in Iowa in Dubuque. It's actually up on a mountain that's super windy. And nothing ever happens to it. It also doesn't fade. So it's like baked into the color. So
Yeah.
it's similar to like a cement board, but not cement board.
Okay,
The color goes through it.
yeah, okay, it's a permeated,
Correct.
like a vinyl siding kind of product.
Similar but thicker and yeah, think of it like a skirting on a mobile home. But like an insulated thicker skirting, not the cheap vinyl thin stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I guess, regardless of which way we go tonight, I would just say that I'd like some more details about structurally how this is getting constructed.
Okay.
In other words, what's gonna be holding these things on? Maybe you can send me some pictures of these other signs.
Yeah, like a schematic, and I can get you a schematic even of what it is.
Sure,
Yeah.
cross section or something, and a couple of pictures of some of the existing ones, if this is a
It's
kind
a
of a
common,
modular package they've put together for you or whatever, that's fine, but I just don't want this thing falling apart and
us either.
looking bad and then us having to,
Yeah.
hunt you down.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with your concern, but I can speak to it.
I mean, you're putting a lot of money into a nice sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it would be a shame if the base, I understand why you don't want to do a masonry base, a true masonry base. I mean, I know it's hard to get people to do them and they're expensive and
Yes.
trust me, I get it. I know, I'm in the business, so I know what a challenge it is, but also because of that, I want to make sure this can look bad, because then I'm gonna have people asking me why I let that happen.
Yeah.
I should have known better.
I know it's just words, but I'll tell you, it's gonna look 100 times better in a year. We're replacing all signs this year, like even internal, so everything.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely upgrades, that's for sure.
Ben, you had mentioned that sign on Lannon Road is Lannon Village Lot. Is that because of the water?
Yep, so as part of the water project, the village acquired that building and then a lot. And the old lot went out to the center line of the road. We had to dedicate a strip of that to the county, but the former owner's asset development group astutely they insisted on having a sign easement written up in there.
So it is written into the agreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I gotta check on that one, honestly. I don't know if that sign easement is on Lannon property. I know on Lannon's property, we give them permission to obviously traverse that to maintain their sign. But I forget if the sign falls within the county right of way now or not. So that's why I'm saying that one, they might still need county permit for, or at least they need to talk to the county about that one.
Is it just that one or both?
Well, so on the one on Good Hope, I'm just looking up right now. On the Waukesha County GIS, with the aerial imagery doesn't line up with real spatial life exactly, but it's close. So your current sign on Good Hope Road has like a landscaped hardscape circle, half circle, whatever. The front face of that circle is currently offset about 22 feet behind the right of way line. So what I'm saying is, as long as you move that sign no more than like 20 feet closer to the road, you're probably okay. You know what I mean?
That one's gonna stay like where it is. I'm just gonna make it perpendicular.
I'm talking the Good Hope Road.
Oh, the Good
Back
Hope
to
one?
Good-
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yep.
20 feet.
So don't move it any closer than 20 feet and you're probably okay, but you should still double check your plat. I'm looking at the Lannon Road one now.
And is the Good Hope Road one, do you have a landscape plan for your planting area around that at all, or?
We don't require landscaping. Patrick,
No.
we don't require landscaping on signs anymore.
Oh, that's fine. You mentioned he was gonna do something. I didn't know if he had a plan or anything.
No, so typically it's just a very shallow, maybe 2-3 rows of a concrete block, like a 10-inch block. That goes around the circle of it, and then we just put white flowers in it. That's all we do.
That's something pretty low growing.
Correct, yeah,
Annual.
yeah.
Make a motion to approve the sign permit for RHP Properties, with the sign on Good Hope Road, that they are to make sure that they stay off the right of way, and that they check, and on the one on Landon Road, they check with the Waukesha County Highway Department to see if they need a right of way permit.
We have a motion and second. Do you have any more discussion? Anything else?
Yeah, I do have one other question. Where are you gonna pull power for the other one off of Lennon Road? Is that gonna come from the well house, and is that split into 2 circuits, one for them and one for the village, or?
So that one may not be illuminated just due to the fact that we don't own the well house anymore. So if we don't find a power source, maybe if we owned a street light or something over there, we would maybe pull from that, but unfortunately, I haven't investigated that to know an answer. And if we can't get power to it, we just will leave it not illuminated. So, yep.
But you'll still do the same design and the same.
Correct. It'll be the same sign. It'll be capable of internal illumination. It just won't be illuminated. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was my only other question.
If you want to trade cards, I can follow up with you on that, because there was some stuff in that, like limited use license about they get power on their Huffman building and stuff. So.
Oh, there is. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering. It might be easy enough to pull some out there.
I'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could, and I guess the only thing I would add is, if you'd be so kind to send those details and.
Yeah. You want me to just send them to him?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Your mind. Put it in the file with you.
Anything else? Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible action on approval of plan of operation for CSC storage for Hope Road, Lannon, Wisconsin, 53046.
Major highlights from my review is that, of course, this has been before the plan commission on and off here over the last several months. So they indicate in writing, I believe, with this application that materials previously stored on a portion that's village owned property have been removed. There was previous discussion by the plan commission that included a need for the village property to be restored, and the plan commission should discuss that further. Property is zoned B2, the stated use is storage. They indicated on a past application, it would be that outdoor storage would be discontinued. So outdoor storage is generally only allowed in the light industrial zoning district. With any business districts, outdoor storage has to be wholly screened, but the applicant should clarify if it's indoor storage or indoor and outdoor storage. They did submit a site plan, but the site plan still requires interior floor plan, landscaping plan, designated parking areas, etc. I'm assuming Commissioner Graham that you have additional comments on the actual plan of operation itself, but those are my.
Well, first off, this nice drawing got wrong addresses for his house and the building. Just we all know that the address on this drawing is wrong. You have for the house 20512,
20152 is for the house.
right? You got a 20512 on here, and on here you got 20712 for the building.
Yeah, that property should be 20172.
Right, you got 20712.
Oh.
Okay, so I just wanna make sure that we all know that this drawing is not accurate. I think we need to reflect that some corrections on that. Before I get into some other stuff, a couple of quick items is, it says the business connected to sanitary sewer.
Yes.
Do they run a sewer line from the street all the way back there?
Yeah.
And water?
Yeah. Well,
And,
water came out of my house, but then since water came through, it got hooked up to the village.
and waste hauling company GFL, is that a private hauling for you, or is that one that the village?
Private, whatever I need it picked up.
Okay, all right, so you got business on that, and okay. I haven't been back that way, I haven't looked in the road and it's snow on the ground. Did you restore all the grass and everything on the village property?
It's being worked on. It's just in the fall, the wood and brush was just cleaned up, so. That'll be a project to do this summer, the spring, the summer, get it back to.
You gonna have any dumpsters back there?
We do have a dumpster, yes.
Where's it on the drawing roughly?
Right now it's tucked behind the building,
The big building or little building?
the big one right now.
North side of it.
Yes.
So when you say inside storage for family and friends,
Yes.
what would be a Kawasaki covered up going in for?
Just a friend that's storing his stuff there.
But does he have a business somewhere that he stores excess product at your place then?
Yes.
Okay.
What types of things do you find in storing in there besides, Kawasaki's? It's only gonna be those types of equipment.
Well, I mean, we got a skid loader in there, and if my brother keeps his boat down there. Or if he's gonna keep that up by my last lake house. But yeah, I mean, mostly that's just, I mean, it's filled with stuff now from the spring and all will be empty.
You say it's filled with stuff now, what's in there now?
Well. Motorcycles, little four wheelers. That the guy uses, that he's storing there right now.
How many times do you think the semi is going in and out of there?
I wouldn't think very often.
Seems to be changing.
What's your definition of very often?
I don't know, once every maybe a few months. I don't know how his schedule goes and when you move stuff around. I think he brings stuff in with the semi truck and he takes stuff out with the truck and the trailer.
Do you charge a fee for the storage?
No,
You plan on to?
I don't think so. It's kind of more of our brother's deal, but. I think we're just helping the guy out.
Been going on for over a year. Long time to help somebody out. And there was a 3-wheeler that was unloaded off of a semi by Gessler's Wreckers onto a flatbed in the middle of Good Hope last spring.
That I have no idea.
Monday morning. A pickup truck, the white pickup truck, that's the only one that's out of there. Was back there loading up. 3 4x4 Kawasaki's uncrated, were out in the middle of the yard. And they took out one fully crated 4x4 on the trailer.
That seems to be a lot more than personal or friendly storage. I got pictures. If you wanna look at it.
Where is the definition change from personal to commercial? As far as storage, Ben,
So for some context here, they already have the business zoning. And if they want to use the interior of the structure for storage. That's a permissible use. So the trick with all of this in the past is. They were doing what seemingly, perhaps admittedly here, was business related activity. With the property without a plan of operation, so. When this was most recently brought before the planning commission, it was a matter of, the folks here didn't want to apply for a plan of operation. I think the clerk and I were urging them to just apply, you've already got the correct zoning. So it's kind of like you either gotta discontinue the use or come in and get a plan of operation. So if this plan of operation gets approved, my opinion is the kinds of stuff that you've observed going on will now be an allowable use.
If they had over in Sussex on Silver Spring, off Silver Spring. East of the tracks, there's a bunch of garage type buildings over there. Sussex considers those as a business storage facility, like working place. Which they require a plan of operation. So the same thing here is we would require a plan of operation. For this, for him to run a storage in his building. That way he could have the semi truck backing in there. The thing that we still need though from you will be interior floor plan, because obviously you got water and sewer, so we need to know where the restroom and stuff like that is in there. Okay, a landscaping plan and designated parking outside that building, showing us where the dumpster is, where you might store that car trailer that you say you have on the list here. And if you decide to park any car or truck or anything like that back there, make sure it's on that drawing where it can be parked.
I think you're you're a lot closer, you're here, you've got a submission at least. I think we just need some further details and some pieces of the puzzle. Clean up some infractions in terms of encroachment on the village stuff and.
maybe a better idea.
Should be good to go.
In a better timetable.
Yeah, but right now we can't tell because, the snow and everything like that, I mean, you said last fall, we were making sure that you got off the village property and restored the village property, pull the gravel back and stuff like that. So it's just, just some minor stuff now, you.
Like to submit.
Well, when you bring back the interior and the landscaping, what's there and show on the building where their lighting is, if you have any lighting on the outside, for safety reasons.
Okay.
I see you got your hours on here that you're gonna be there and when you're not gonna be there or who's gonna be there when they're not gonna be there.
Is it gonna be internal and external storage?
Just internal,
Well, I think we should specific in internal on the.
nothing outside.
But show that your car trailer and stuff like that you listed
Yeah.
on here,
Yeah, that's parked outside.
Dan, what are for the interior stuff, like, I think. This doesn't need to be like some fancy, expensive, drafted by an architect kind of thing, does it? It has the footprint of the building, some measurements, right? Dimensions, interior dimensions to any rooms or the restrooms.
Gotta be drawn to scale,
Right.
with a straight edge, it's a pretty low bar, we've had people aim for lower than that. But yeah, normally on things like this where it's an existing building, like the dugout across the street, all their floor plans are drawn to scale by hand with a ruler, general layout, et cetera.
Electors Unlimited, I think, do the same thing.
Yeah.
So some modifications, right?
Yeah. So note on the plan of operation, they listed the zoning as light industrial, but it's actually B2, which is the business district. And the key distinction there is light industrial allows for outdoor storage. Business does not. Well, for a business, it would all have to be screened. So that should get clearly updated just to eliminate confusion down there.
About the dumpster that.
Dumpster has to be screened. Now, typically, the planning commission has considered if it's like back behind the building. That's acceptable. However, it's in a. I've never looked for it, so I've never noticed it, but. You know, I guess planning commission would have to consider what would count as screened or not.
You'd have to see if we could see it from Main Street or land and property. And it's over there in the corner.
Not, still not being enclosed next door. And that's, to be honest.
What do you mean?
Oh, at the car dealership right next door.
Oh,
They still don't have their.
He's working on that.
The only time.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Get picked up.
You wait for the dust to just pile up high enough.
And we don't need, Ben, we don't need an inspection or an occupancy permit for that storage building, do we?
I wouldn't know.
Check with the building inspector.
Okay, I make a motion to temporarily approve the plan of operation for CSC storage, provided that they bring in the interior floor plan to scale, landscaping plan to scale, and designated parking areas. And if any other permits are required, it's to see the building inspector.
Is there a time frame associated with this temporary
30 days,
next meeting?
the end of March. We'll mark by the March meeting, which is you know,
Or should we go April?
4 weeks.
Or should we go April?
We'll go to the end of April, the April meeting. It's 2 months.
April plan commission.
April Plan Commission meeting.
So I'll second, so we can have some discussion here, but I'd also like to add into the record to make the noted change to the zoning on the plan of operation as well. And I think April will allow them more time to demonstrate the restoration work. You know, that's
Yeah, we can look. We can
pretty
look.
hard to do right now.
Yeah.
Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 9, discussion of possible action on enforcement at Saywell project. Reason why I put this on here is I want us all to be on the same page. Our building inspector approached me and he goes, there's 3 access points to this. There's no tracking pads in their existing tracking pad. Was not properly constructed. Was blocking a ditch. After talking to Ben and Hector, Paul sent them a letter. You guys wrote Friday afternoon. I believe, Ben, the last email I got.
I would have to look, I don't know.
Okay,
Can I clarify, we're talking about a Stonewood Trail across? from
yes,
St.
I'm
Cloud,
sorry.
right?
Oh, okay.
Because right now, there's the other thing too, is we had given the last month the signage up on the Rock Point. So when I see the Sawwall project, I'm looking at both.
Right, yeah, I just didn't know which.
So if we're gonna talk about this one over here, Stonewood first, I mentioned to Ben just before the meeting that there's no erosion control barriers in the ditch close to the storm sewer on the west end, and there's water and there's mud. And if anything gets in that particular storm sewer, that's a long ways to dig it out and clean out.
The erosion control was in the letter that Paul sent them. And it was a 72-hour notice, and that's why
And they've already tore half of it back down as of today.
wasn't Isaac, the Trace was supposed to be stopping out, but I didn't hear anything back from Isaac, what he found.
Yeah, my apologies. I thought this item was limited to the signs. I didn't realize we were talking about erosion control over there, so I don't have an update on that, other than to say I know that Paul reached out to us just to verify a couple things, and Paul was gonna follow up with some all about what they had to do.
I can comment on the Rock Point Village signage request. I was not at the last meeting, but I had heard about it, and I was contacted by Sewall to put some additional indicators on that existing sled sign out there that says entrance, and those are done and scheduled to be installed in the next few days.
I have a question. I noticed over on, okay, well now we're over at Rock Point. I noticed on Custer Lane, the village land to put a stop sign on their property. Is the village of land required to put a stop sign on the main street? And is the village of land required to put the street sign up that says Main Street and the Rock Point entrance off of a steel pole?
They've ordered the signs.
Yeah.
From TAPCO and the poles. Yes, in answer to your question, yes.
Okay, so the Custer Road sign then, that was,
That's the stop sign?
yep.
Yep.
That was, the village provided that, or,
That was construction provided.
okay, I also noticed that the Custer Lane Main Street sign is on a 4x4 post. We don't know what happened to that steel pole that was on that corner. Or is that just a temporary sign?
That's a permanent sign, that's a treated sign, and that was put in there by Vinton.
So instead of all street signs around here are on steel pole, but that one's on a 4x4?
Yeah, we're working on some of that too. There's a couple of solar speed signs that are gonna be mounted on 4x4s, possible 6x6s, instead of steel, because steel won't handle the weight.
Okay.
So we're not gonna have all steel posts
Okay.
in the village.
So that's what I was looking for, was I didn't know that, I was understanding last month that there was gonna be the street sign and the stop sign put at Main Street and Good Hope, Main Street and Rock Point. That's what I'm not looking for little arrows on their sled board. I'm looking for the stop sign and the street sign on that corner.
I was told the same thing, Ron, was that they ordered those through TAPCO.
And I was under the understanding that we weren't talking about the stop signs, we were talking about the sled sign.
Oh, see,
What I had down in my notes from the last meeting was we were talking about the street signs and then adding like a placard or something with lettering that said entrance.
Yep.
Onto that, what you call the sled sign.
so that's,
And I talked to I'm sorry, not Art, Kevin. Kevin's already gone out and put solar lights on that sled sign also. I told him that, I don't know what you're making up, but I told him like maybe the entrance lettering should be reflected, whatever.
Yeah, too late for that.
Okay, well, maybe the solar signs will handle it, but yeah, the official street signs are ordered and are scheduled to arrive on March 7th.
okay,
And said they'll install them within a few days after they arrive.
Yeah, and they are the green and white sign.
okay. That's what I was under the impression that they were gonna be up, a couple weeks. I didn't, that's,
No. AFCO takes 4 to 6 weeks just for the order to be placed.
Not a fan.
I'm not either.
So what then, the question is on the enforcement for the Stonewood project over here. We're looking at what, erosion control, the erosion barriers in the ditches? Is all the erosion control been installed? I don't know, I mean,
It's not all the way around the property.
I guess we could just ask that Ben follows up with his team and make sure that they're in full compliance.
Yeah, and with the building inspector, because when he and I last talked, he clarified, like, he issues the erosion control permit, he follows up, he's the one in charge of verbal, written warnings, or actually writing citations, etc.
and then if Brenda, if you could look back on our minutes back in, I believe it's August of 2021, I can't find them online because it falls off. If you could look up when we first approved this project, was the requirement that he had places a sign on that property with the phone number of who to contact, how to be contacting and stuff like that. If we can get copies of the minutes,
For Stonewood.
the Stonewood,
Okay.
the Stonewood, right?
We covered that in the pre-construction meeting here about a month ago. That a sign was supposed to be put up or some type of informational sign up there with the phone number of both the Sawal individual that was done on that Teams meeting. That we
And
had.
Kevin objected to the sign. He goes, that was just a suggestion, and I said, no.
According to the developers agreement, that had been approved by the plan commission in the development agreement that temporary sign has to be approved by. And I know is right now, they're working away. Right, been a few engineering outfits that are staking the property have run mud out on Main Street and, drove off. But there's no sign, and I thought that was something from 2 years ago that we had said there had to be a sign with phone numbers.
And there's also, it's in here, I don't have it marked in this copy, that they indicate a person who keeps a log of all complaints.
Yeah.
How they were addressed, and that they have to be made available to the building inspector,
That's around,
police department.
yeah, that's in the
and
470 to 490 area of your developers agreement, those lines there.
Yeah, but this is, I wanted to get this pointed out. To borrow Ben's words, to be proactive on this, so we don't end up with what we had down here. I had also asked where the street sweeper was. And again, I was told they don't need it, and it's like, there's not gonna be a bunch of mud and rocks on the street. And
There was a trail all the way past my house in Good Hope here from when they're hauling the base topsoil out here.
see that, I don't usually come in that way, but I haven't seen it, but also pointed out that every citation price goes up in here in this developer's agreement. It goes up $200 a time. But we do not actually have a signed developers agreement yet. So, in fact, close Isaac said that there were a few more exhibits that had to be finished.
Yeah, when, just for reference, when did you last talk to Isaac?
Friday.
Okay, so I talked to him a little more this afternoon. They still have to address a couple comments on exhibits. The MRO exhibit that prepared by Ellers, I'm waiting to hear back from Bill Cotson as to how long that'll take. He just engaged bond counsel 2 days ago. My assumption is that's probably the critical path item, and it's probably going to be 3 to 4 weeks on that. So what I've been discussing with Hector earlier today is the need to issue like a letter of conditions along with their grading permit that specifically covers items just related, requirements just related to what they're doing right now, so that the village has something enforceable to hold them accountable to, while waiting for this developer agreement to get signed.
So how do we word that? Because I just don't want this to turn into another mess again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you. So I actually just sent Paul an email. I have every confidence that if it's worthy of a citation for the erosion control stuff, that he's gonna write a citation. So I guess if you wanted to, you know, direct staff to generate a letter of conditions that puts the temporary sign and the other requirements that Hector and I have been discussing about verifying letter of credit, insurance, those kind of items. Put those all into conditions for their grading permit. That could be an appropriate out of action.
Motion, we have staff develop a letter. Designating a small project and what has to be done, any interim, to proceed. Just like, Ben.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
You guys. Come up with order. Yeah, I'm on this. I don't know if you took any notes, but yeah. Be able to help you out.